Hi everyone, welcome to this tutorial. My name is Vlad, and today we will be looking at how to correctly fly the visual approaches in the famous airport of Funchal, Cristiano Ronaldo, using basically any airplane in any simulator. Located on the island of Madeira in the Atlantic Ocean, this airport has gained its fame by many videos of airliners executing a turn to short final while battling winds, demonstrating incredible handling skill to accomplish a safe approach and landing. With this popularity, Madeira is a frequent destination for the sim community, and that's exactly why I'm doing this tutorial, so that you will be able to execute this approach successfully on your airplane. For your information, this video was verified by a real-world pilot that flies to Madeira, so everything you will see here reflects how things may be done in real life. I will be covering both visual approaches for runways 05 and 23 done via RNP, aka GPS, and will as well mention the conventional approaches using VOR for those who want to fly an airplane that doesn't have GPS or lacks the fixed info page, like for example the Boeing B742 or the B720. So get yourself comfortable, take a pen to make notes, and I highly suggest you to open your charts and your simulator with the airplane that you intend to fly to Madeira so you can follow along. You can pause the video and rewind at any moment that you will require to completely understand each step. Enjoy! Before we jump to the fun part, we need to understand how to get there. Unlike most airports, executing this approach requires three different charts. The main arrival chart, so-called STAR, the approach chart, in this case for an RNP approach, and finally the visual segment chart. Usually when you have an approach chart, it will guide you all the way to the runway, while in this case, this approach will guide you to the start of the visual circling segment, or the missed approach procedure, depending on the weather conditions and your criteria of stabilized flight. The exact same applies to runway 23, as we will see later. Make sure to analyze all three charts and make yourself familiar with the tracks, distances and altitudes, as well as any terrain, and make a good arrival briefing. Additionally, you can do an extra trick, and that's exactly what I will describe now. If we look at the visual chart, we understand that it requires us to perform a set of tasks like maintaining a certain direction for a certain distance, and then execute a turn, and finally initiate a descent based on two visual points, Gil and Rosário. I always like to say that preparation is key, and having an extra set of help is always good. If we compare the GPS chart with the VOR chart, for instance, we can see that the downwind is supported by a radial on the VOR chart, and we have the exact DME distance to execute the turn. This doesn't happen on the GPS chart, as when you go visual, you go visual. To help yourself, you can use the fixed info page to draw additional information that can be used as guidance. As you can see on the chart, the visual-based turn is to be done 3 nautical miles after passing the missed approach point. There is nothing on the sea that would tell you where those 3 nautical miles are. So let's draw them. By going into the fixed info page, inputting Mike Alpha 565 as a reference and setting an outbound radial of 219 degrees, this will get us a line that extends in the direction that we want to follow. Because I used Mike Alpha 565 as a reference and not Mike Alpha 566, I will now input a 7 nautical miles radius. By doing it this way, the circle will be larger and less confusing when looking at the navigation display than it would be with the 3 nautical mile circle. Additionally, you can input Gil and Rosário to have a clue for the final descent, as they have minimum altitudes associated. Check on Google Maps how the points look. That will help, especially if you have some good scenery. Gil is a big white factory right on the tip of the terrain, while Rosário is a viewpoint about a place where 2 big roads merge. Before we move onward, I want to add a remark about the minimums for these approaches. Because it is a non-precision approach, you will be using MDA instead of DA. DA or DH stands for decision altitude or height, and it is the altitude or height, where you take the decision to either continue or abort the landing. It is used on precision approaches where terrain separation is carefully studied, and this value accounts for the small altitude loss that you experience in a go-around, as the airplane takes some time to react and you don't get an immediate climb rate. MDA, or MDH, on the other hand, stands for minimum descent altitude or height, which means you cannot descend past it, as you are at risk of unsafe separation from terrain. This means that you need to make your decision before you reach MDA, or you have to level off at the MDA if the approach allows it. This also means that for the approach into runway 05, we need to level off at a slightly higher altitude and not the MDA, as most autopilot systems can take values as 940 feet, which is the MDA for runway 05. If you will be flying to Madeira and there is a possibility of low clouds, always have this in mind. Now, let's separate the entire arrival to Madeira into 3 stages and see those executed in the airplane. Ideally, you would have your mind preset before descending from your cruise altitude, but for demonstration purposes, I will be talking about those on the go. The first stage will be the arrival segment. This one is flown as any other star that you do at any other airport. Just select the required one on your FMS, or if you are flying an airplane without GPS, jump to the approach chart, as there are no conventional arrivals in Madeira anymore. Also, as a reminder, if you're flying an airplane equipped with a G1000 or similar, like an Embraer Phenom, you have to select the arrival and approach separately and activate the approach when needed. The second stage is the approach segment. This is a crucial part as it requires you to follow certain altitudes and speed restrictions. Always make sure that the correct approach is loaded, as sometimes bugs may occur in the simulator, and the values or waypoints do not coincide with what you have on the chart. Whatever you have on the box must correspond exactly to what you have on the charts. Also, when choosing the approach from the list, make sure to correctly select RNP Alpha, as this is the one that will take you to the circling approach. The other two, RNP Yankee and Zulu, require a special authorization, hence the AR in their names. Moving onwards, the second stage can be flown using 2 different ways. Option 1 requires it to be fully configured with the landing checklist complete at the final approach fix, which in this case is the point Mike Alpha 564. This is where your so-called glide slope will start, and that's why it's important to be at the required altitude here. Being configured at that point with the landing checklist completed would allow you to fully focus on what's coming next. If you have never flown to Madeira, this is a good way to familiarize yourself with the approach and visual clues without being too saturated with the workload. Option 2 is going to be the one I'll be demonstrating here today. Arrive at the final approach fix with a speed of around 190 knots and flaps 2 in case of the Airbus, or flaps 5 to 20 depending on the Boeing that you'll be flying, or whatever speed is best for your airplane. As soon as you initiate the descent, select approach speed and put the gear down. When fully configured, complete the landing checklist. You will be leveling off at the MDA when arriving over the missed approach fix. Remember what I told you before about the MDA? Preselect 1000 on the autopilot if yours doesn't allow you to preselect the exact value. Things will happen fast. Be prepared to take control. If you have the runway in sight, continue to stage 3, otherwise the airplane will proceed automatically with the missed approach procedure. So just before the missed approach procedure, you'll enter the final, third stage, which can also be done by 2 different ways. Option 1 is the manual raw approach. You disconnect the flight directors, disconnect the autopilot, and fly according to the visual approach and the extra cues that we prepared before. This option is the most fun, but at the same time requires more workload because you are so close to your MDA. On a windy day it can be quite challenging to not descend below the required altitude while doing other things. Then on the other side, you have the option number 2. This is the airline way, where precision and safety come first. Before you pass the missed approach point, pull heading or track according to what your airplane allows in order to keep flying in the same direction for those 3 miles until the visual base turn. Flying on the autopilot will give you time to pre-select the go-around altitude, leaving only the heading to be set. Using the extra guidance that we have drawn, at the 3 nautical mile mark, start a gentle heading turn towards the field. If your airplane allows, you can limit the bank angle in order to make a smoother turn. Adjust it as required and always according to your airspeed and wind direction. For instance, a fast speed and wind from the south could push you very quickly over to the mountain, while on the other hand a turn that's executed too tightly will put you in a very difficult angle to smoothly align with the runway and could potentially cause a GPWS alert. As an example, a loaded 777 or a 737 will require more bank, while the slower Embraer Phenom can be limited with a 15 degrees bank for a great result. Just remember to reset those limiters on the following flight or on a go-around. As you get yourself aligned with the curve that will lead you to the runway, and you can easily see it, disconnect the automation, the flight directors, and set a go-around heading of around 110 degrees. Simply set a turn to the ocean, away from rising terrain. At this point you will be approaching the first visual point. At Gelo, you must be at the minimum altitude of 850 feet, and 460 feet over Rosario. This part is crucial for you to be on the correct vertical profile for the runway. Initiate your descent about half a mile to Gelo, or just before you align yourself closer to terrain. Check your ground speed, add a 0 to the end of the number and divide by 2. This will give you the required descent rate for 3 degrees glide path, which is the exact one for this part of the visual approach. This technique works for any 3-degree approach, in fact. You can try it yourself next time on the ILS. Stick to your vertical speed and you'll see that you won't deviate at all from the glide path or PAP indication. Of course, if needed, make the correct adjustment. At this point, line up yourself nicely with the runway and make a safe touchdown inside the touchdown zone. But what if you float? How long can you float? You surely don't want to overrun the end of the runway and end up in the ocean. I'll teach you a technique that will tell you how much you can float. See, while on cruise, preparing for the approach, I assume you did your performance calculations. Those will give you an extra available margin that you have for the runway that you will land on. Essentially, excess runway. Well, by rule, the touchdown markers, apart from the aiming point, must always be separated by a distance of 150 meters between them and the threshold line. How convenient. So now we can easily see how many markers we can float over before we run out of runway. Easy and effective. If you follow the steps we did here but when flying the conventional approach, regarding speeds, stabilizing criteria, minimums, and turn, excluding all the GPS related stuff, you will be totally successful in completing that. With that said, this was the explanation of Runway 05. I hope you enjoyed it, and before we jump into the approach for Runway 23, hit like to say thanks or leave a comment with questions and consider joining the channel for more stuff. Now, let's continue. Interestingly enough, while looking easier on the paper, arriving for Runway 23 is actually considered somewhat more challenging than on Runway 05, depending on conditions. You will see why in a minute. In terms of preparation, the thinking method is similar to what we did for Runway 05. The first star stage is identical in execution, just make sure you select RNP Bravo for Runway 23, and the second stage, the approach, can be flown by the same two options as I described previously. Either early stabilized, fully configured with the landing checklist completed by the final approach fix, or in the same condition as option 2 was described. The only thing that changes is of course the altitudes and the final approach fix position and minimus. Also remember, you cannot go below the MDA altitude if you do not see the runway, in which case you have to fly the missed approach procedure. And funny enough, the conventional VOR approach gives you a lower minimum than the GPS one. 1,390 feet for the GPS, which for most airplanes will mean 1,400 feet because of the autopilot selection, versus 1,300 feet for the VOR. For the visual part of this approach, you can use the fix info page as well. On the approach preparation in the cruise, draw a radial of 237 degrees from your missed approach point, Mike Alpha 562, to make sure you never cross it to be safe from terrain. If you're flying on a VOR, just pre-select the radial 237 of Funchal VOR, It will essentially give you the exact same guidance. Now let's fly. We passed the final approach fix, we are on the descent, we can see the runway, and we are approaching the missed approach point. Contrary to what we did on runway 05 where we had to level off at the MDA, as you pass the missed approach point on this approach, you have to continue your descent if you want to continue your approach. Use the same technique to calculate the required vertical speed, and at this time, turn inbound the runway following a track of approximately 235 degrees, which will point you to the runway threshold. Just like in the approach runway 05, we can either fly manually or with the autopilot. On this demonstration, I'm going to do a fully manual approach. Make sure to not overfly the radial we've set on the fix info or select it in the VOR to be safe from terrain, especially if you have wind pushing you towards the island. Remember to pre-select the go-around altitude and the heading of 170 degrees to keep yourself pointed away from terrain in case of a missed approach. As you come closer, you will see Mashik Valley. Make the necessary adjustments at that time to be finally aligned with the runway. Executing this continuous descent with a very late alignment to the runway can be quite tricky. But just in case that you still aren't convinced that this one is hard, just see how this approach looks at night. Do you see how little visual clues you have now? No lead-in lights like on runway 05, and a total black hole effect. Add windy conditions, and the frequent wind shear that's created by Mashik Valley, and things will definitely become fun. If you want to fly this approach on conventional navigation using the VOR, just follow the same way of thinking and respect the indications the charts give you.
300, 200, 100, 50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 10, 5.
And this is it, the full guide on how to land in Madeira visually. I hope you learned something new and enjoyed my explanation. I want to say thank you to my friend who helped me create this, and a thanks to you for watching. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and share this video with your friends, and oh, of course, consider joining this channel for more stuff. Thank you once again, have a great week, and safe landings in Madeira. Bye!